So much happened on 9/11 in terms of the commemoration, and I was just so sickened by so much. I couldn't even post a tribute because it just felt like our country has become a farce. And I guess to start with this clip of Bush, who can't just keep the focus on the people who actually executed 9/11, not, focus on the terrorists or the jihadists. Instead, he goes with talking about the American people. So let's actually watch that clip of what he said during his speech.
We have seen growing evidence that the dangers to our country can come not only across borders, but from violence that gathers within. There is little cultural overlap between violent extremists abroad and violent extremists at home. But in their disdain for pluralism, in their disregard for human life, in their determination to defile national symbols, they are children of the same foul spirit, and it is our continuing duty to confront them.
Yeah, I don't know how this turned into, let's focus on the American people. But also, I want to point out that at the same time, in the morning of 9/11, Apple News sent out this amazing alert, how the 9/11 attacks ushered in an era of fear and mistrust in the U.S. and set the stage for the January 6th insurrection. So all day you're feeling this sort of, we're trying to connect the dots here, but we'll let you connect the dots. We're not going to say it explicitly, but we're going to let you connect the dots that, this is the new form of terrorism.
Well, when he said that, I thought, comparing BLM to Al-Qaeda, it's a little harsh, George, but I suppose they're the children of the same foul spirits. But then it occurred to me, Bush was not talking about BLM, even though they killed people and burned down courthouses and burned down police departments and burned down cities and stole lots of property. He was talking about these people on January 6th because he said they attack our national symbols. And while a federal courthouse somewhere in the middle of the country might be a national symbol, I think he was alluding to the Capitol. And he was using these mealy-mouthed words. He wouldn't even come out and say it. He just had this vague implication. It was classless, it was tasteless, and it reminds us of a big problem from the Bush administration, which is he can't talk about the problem in specificity. It's always got to be the vague, violent extremism. And this was part of the misdefinition of the war in Afghanistan or Iraq or the war on terror broadly from the beginning. We never knew what we were talking about. And here, to have the former president express the same contempt that he does for Al-Qaeda, for the American people, for his own supporters, or his former supporters.
In the same breath.
On the 20th anniversary, it was the most shameful act I've seen George Bush commit.
No, it was a thoroughgoing shame. And what's amazing about this is, everything that you have been told about January 6th is a lie. We know this now. We were told over and over again that this was an event that killed a Capitol Police officer. It did not. The coroner's report definitively showed that that was not the case. Biden, CNN, MSNBC, they all kept saying it. We've been lied to and lied to and lied to again and again about this event, up to the point of just casually calling it an insurrection, casually assimilating all Trump supporters, half of the American people, or perhaps more, to this, to the idea of, that would be the same thing as actual violent terrorism. It's such a crying shame to see George Bush, the man who presided over this great tragedy in our nation's history, try to buy into this mono-party nonsense that, this is all the same thing somehow.
I don't know that he bought into it if it was already there. I think there's a lot more that's being unveiled to us. It was a different time then, as I mentioned before, in my monologue, it's a different time than in America. We just had our TV screens. We all just believed whatever was told to us by the newscasters. There was no social media. There was no way for us to independently verify what we saw or take out our smartphones and capture what was real, what was not. And when I see these people together, right, and I see Bush walking with Clinton, walking with Obama, by the way, look at this extraordinary picture. Does this look like American freedom? When you think about America, does this picture say to you, America, the land of the free and the land of the brave? You know what it looks like? A recent picture that was released of the Afghan women in Kabul, at Kabul University on the exact same day, side by side. I'm just saying.
Candace, people are going to attack you for that comparison. That comparison is way less offensive than the one Bush made on 9/11.
Right. 100%. It's literally, what were we even fighting for? We've adopted more of their customs and they've adopted ours, apparently, and so this whole concept of freedom, it was, this day to me was sad for different reasons this time, because I just looked and I said, this is not my country. This is not the sentiment that I had after 9/11. These people do not represent what it means to be an American.
Well, ironically, it is an unmasking, right? Because at this point, as you say, you put that picture up on screen, you can see exactly what this is. It's a one-party oligarchy. They've been consolidating power over the American people and lording it over them, exerting it to their detriment for nigh on 20 years now, probably more. And we can see them now there. Biden came out when he announced his vaccine mandates, which I'm sure we'll talk about. He didn't have any, there was no concern for what people wanted. He was telling us what was going to happen from the top down. They are appalled. They find it ludicrous that we should suggest that we have any right to have any say in how our lives go. And the only sort of ounce of hope in this for me is that that's not the American people. That doesn't represent me or you or anybody here in this room, and it doesn't represent the majority of America. And the people who are being disgraced and shamed overseas right now in Afghanistan, that's not the American people. That's not the brave servicemen who lost their lives there either. It's them. It's the ruling class and the oligarchy that cares not a whit about what you or I think.
And there was... To your point, Candace, there's always sadness, especially, I'm a New Yorker, we knew a lot of people, and there's always a sadness on the anniversary of 9/11, but there was a special sadness, I think, now, after this shameful chaos in Afghanistan. You look, you say, what was accomplished through the fecklessness of our leaders? I think there was something else we're mourning, which is that one of the defining events of the months after September 11th was this massive growth of the surveillance state, this massive growth of the unaccountable bureaucracies, new government agencies, power taken away from the people, civil liberties taken away from the people, given to these headless, godless, unaccountable agencies that are now expressing their open contempt, open disdain for the American people. And you're seeing it in real time. You're seeing it through attacks through the IRS. They're trying to get more of our bank information, through the vaccine mandates, through OSHA, for goodness sake. Where in the Constitution do I see that particular right? And so you're looking at this and saying, gosh, the country didn't really get, but maybe we got a little better in the days following that attack when we all came together. But since then, the political system has just decayed.
Before we move on, let me say I love a good disruptor, a company that comes in and shakes up the status quo for the betterment of you, the consumer. Pure Talk is that company. If you're chained to overpriced unlimited plans from Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, there is a better option, Pure Talk. Pure Talk saves the average family over $800 a year without having to sacrifice coverage because they're on the same exact network as one of those big guys. You can keep your phone, keep your number, and get huge discounts on the latest iPhones and Androids with Pure Talk. Right now, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data for just $30 a month. Or if you still want unlimited data, you can get it and you will still save a fortune. Grab your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say Candace Owens, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 and say Candace Owens. Pure Talk is simply smarter wireless. Yeah, exactly. And there once was a man who said that we needed to make America great again. And he was actually out on 9/11. Different kind of optics going on there. This photo of Trump not wearing a mask, surrounded by the people that actually sacrificed, on 9/11, the people that were down there, right? American flag waving, like, this is a photo of what it means. Like, this is what America is. This photo just feels right. You look at it and I smiled. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yes, that's it. He doesn't seem like he's ruling over the people. He seems like he understands the people and he's on the ground with the people. And this is what America misses.
You know what's so important about this photo, and the ruling class and the established class has never quite understood this about Trump. They say, why do the people like Trump? He's a billionaire. or why do Republicans like Trump? He used to be a Democrat. Or why do some Democrats like Trump? Now he's a Republican. And what they don't realize is those distinctions are not what is at issue right now. It's not a class war. It's not rich versus poor. It's not a race war. It's not a sex war. It's not even a partisan war because, as you say, Spencer, there is just kind of this uniparty. There's this one established blob. Trump is not in that club. When the Bushes and the Obamas and Biden get together, they don't call up Donald Trump because he represents something else. And you can see who he represents right there in that photo.
Here's something else important in that picture, and it's the smiles on the faces of every person there, right? Because just compare that with the masks that are obscuring the faces of our sort of bloodless leaders. Here are the American people and the heroes of the American people standing together with this leader and smiling. And people, the people that run this country don't think that it matters. They don't think that it matters to show your face. You only have to go through, get on an airplane to see the demoralizing regime they want to
they don't see us as individuals. You know what I mean? And that's the point, is that when you look at somebody's face, you recognize them to be an individual. You see the way that they're reacting. You recognize their humanity. They don't want us to see each other as human beings. It makes it easier to kind of bring forth this regime of atrocity, which is what it seems like Biden wants to do. Oh, that's not your neighbor. That's not your friend. That's not a person you know. That's a person who's refusing to get the vaccine.
Bag of disease.
A bag of disease is exactly right. And we do have a clip, actually, of Trump, I think just a 10-second clip or a short clip of him addressing the police. And you can just feel the energy in the room.
Bravest people. And right next door, and you love each other, because I know the blue. We love the blue. I'll say it loud. You're not supposed to say that. We love the blue.
That's the camaraderie. Thanks for joining me on this segment of Candace. If you liked this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel and ring the bell to get notifications on new videos. To watch or listen to the full show, become a member at dailywire.com/subscribe and use code Candace for 25% off your new membership.